The truth-revealing economic experiments of Barataria, or The Perplexed Marxian Socialist, by Juan Alcratillo, Silvio Gesell, translated by H.R. Fack and E.S. Woodward, Free Economy Publishing Company, San Antonio, Texas, USA. By capitalism is to be understood a social and economic system founded on land and money privileges by which the people are divided into classes, into interest and rent recipients and workers, into parasites and producers, into takers and makers, a division which today is carried out all over the world. Wherever you look, to the east or west, to the north or south, to autocratic or democratic states, everywhere we find the same conditions. Hundreds of thousands of interest and rent recipients who hardly know what to do with their affluence, and workers who, in spite of the gigantically increased capacity of production through the miracles of modern technique, often do not know how to satisfy their most elementary needs and, with it all, endure lack of safety created by the crisis. These disintegrating forces are as old as culture. They are the inseparable concomitants of any economy founded on money in its present form, and on the monopoly of land and natural resources. Money in its present form facilitates the division of labor and encourages specialization, but at the same time renders society a prey to forces which disintegrate the people into the few gluttons and the many weary and overburdened. To what can this transformation be traced? There are innumerable answers to this question. The first answer that history gives is the account of how Moses, about 1500 BC, declared, "Mine is the land, says the Lord, thou shalt not sell it." He prohibited interest and declared the year of Jubilee to give release from debt burdens. Strange that also Lycurgus, about 800 BC, gave the same answer to the question as to the origin of the social disintegration. Inalienability of the land and substitution of the gold by an iron money were the demands of Lycurgus. Both these great lawgivers in antiquity, Moses and Lycurgus, separated from one another by 7 centuries. Gave to the question of the cause of the social disintegration of the nations the same answer: gold and the private property of land. And today, after 3,500 years of mankind's distressful history, free economy, neocracy, refers to the replies of Moses and Lycurgus and declares, yes, Moses and Lycurgus were right. The social disintegration of the nations must be traced to the habitual money and money issue and the traditional laws governing man's relation to the land and natural resources. Of course, free economy is not satisfied to make this assertion. It also gives the explanation why this is so and must be so. Accordingly, the platform of free economy is not, as with Moses and Lycurgus, the prohibition of interest, the introduction of iron money, and the entailing of properties, but freed money and freed land, demands which originated in a painstaking analysis of the evils which were to be fought. If, therefore, the formation of the demand is a different one, more adapted to the nature of the evils, still the highly significant fact remains that the diagnosis of the social-economic disease supplied today by the free economic teachings has already been made 3,500 years ago by Moses and Lycurgus. This strange fact suggests that we are justified in the assumption that the forces causing social disintegration must have been deeply hidden in the traditional money and laws governing land tenure. Otherwise, they could not have evaded discovery for such a long time. And truly, this must have been the case, for we know from experience that it is not sufficient to point to the defects of money. It is necessary to painstakingly reveal them. Just as with the puzzle picture, one does not see the thing sought for, even if it is pointed out. We are too much distracted by secondary matters. With the puzzle picture, it is the accessory pictures which make it difficult for us to find what we are looking for. With our money, it is the accretion of innumerable prejudices and wrong economic conceptions which, in the course of thousands of years, have adhered to traditional money. Money was the given thing, the thing taken for granted, the fact, and to this fact, however distorted it was, our opinions have adapted themselves. If we compare the measures of present-day statesmen and politicians here and there and everywhere with the fundamental demands of Moses and Lycurgus, the two outstanding leaders and lawgivers of men in antiquity, and whose surpassing greatness overshadows all their followers up to the present, we recognize the entire inadequacy and complete hopelessness of present-day efforts. It is symptom treatment, leaving the causes intact. It is economic quackery at its worst. The demands of Moses and Lycurgus centered in fundamental reform of money, money's function and tenure of land and natural resources. For lack of a scientific analysis of the economic evils which they wanted eliminated, the remedial measures were inadequate. But today, mankind has been endowed, after thousands of years of groping in darkness, with a scientific analysis. Silvio Gesell succeeded where all other economic thinkers failed. And more, he also supplied mankind with the means, born of his findings, to eliminate naturally the economic evils ravaging the economic system of all nations. All that is needed in order to assure the uninterrupted cultural rise of mankind is a statesman with a grasp of the necessity of the two absolute essentials, freed land and freed money, a modern Moses or Lycurgus, the glory of whose name will still shine in the memory of man when his ancient prototypes will have sunk into oblivion. The following story is a new proof of what has been said. It was sent to me by Pedro Tramposo, an old and valued Spanish friend. He found the manuscript, dating from the year 1675 in Granada, when putting an old library in order. I selected the title because the socialist, embracing Marx, will, when reading this booklet, more than once, be perplexed. The Translator.